welcome home.
And welcome home.
To Richard and Bruce, welcome home.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
My name is Andrew Gordon, class of 2013, and it is my honor to welcome all of you here tonight. It means so much to our committee, and especially the families of Richard Stephan and Bruce Backus, that you have chosen to share this very special night with us. Before we present to you some lasting memories of our boys, there's a little history we would like to share with you regarding this year-long journey. Through studying the conflict in Vietnam, we became much more sensitized to the soldier and the value of remembrance. This memorial first became a dream and a vision a little over a year ago when a dozen students and a teacher thought it was important to really bring two men to life. Until now, their names appear only on a wall and in the hearts of those who knew them. In the movie Taking Chance, a salty dog Marine Colonel, Mike Strobel, says, "You brought Chance home." You are his witness now. Without a witness, they just disappear. We have made it our mission to be proper witnesses for Dick and Bruce so that they will never disappear and their lives can touch many others as if they were still alive today. In April of last year, Superintendent of Schools Tom Smith and CHS Principal Mike Dare gave us the green light to move forward. We even got the location we wanted. At the main entrance of the high school, as soon as you walk into the front doors of this building, you will meet Dick and Bruce. We had a lofty design, which came with a lofty price tag and the challenge of raising $12,000. Well, the memorial has actually cost us more than $15,000. One of the blessings of this journey was that as the cost of this project increased, the community responded. Funding was just never an issue, and we even had a little left over for maintenance down the road. Thanks to a generous, caring, loving, and benevolent school staff, business community, families, and individuals, we far exceeded our financial goal, and we believe the memorial has even exceeded our vision. A special thanks to science teacher Dave Wilson, who spent countless hours custom making the railing you will see shortly. To all of you, every single person who gave us something, even encouragement, we give you our heartfelt thanks.
My name is Matthew Begley, class of 2013. I too am honored to be a part of this remarkable evening and part of the legacy of being a witness for Dick and Bruce. Our objective from the beginning was to create a memorial that included more than just names. We were committed to making it as personal as possible. By being the witness for Richard and Bruce, we made it our mission to show the community that they were students, sons, brothers, friends, a husband, and a father. We want people to see what they look like and get a small glimpse into their lives, their personalities, and their interests. We want to give them honor and remembrance they deserve. When looking at Richard and Bruce, we not only keep their memories alive, but hopefully encourage people to value life and each other just a little bit more. We hope you will be pleased with the result. The task was monumental. We had a tremendous amount of money to raise, find contractors and businesses that would make our vision a reality in a limited block of time. We had to track down family and friends of the two men who died over 40 years ago to help us tell their stories. The community blew us away with their financial support. The families and friends were so gracious and couldn't do enough for us, getting pictures, memorabilia, and rehashing old stories. Their support was incredible and inspired us to do the best job possible. Family and friends are here tonight from North Carolina, Virginia, Florida, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and all over New Jersey. One man was married with 2 children. Wife Marianne and daughter Terry-Ann are here with us tonight from Florida. Bruce's sister Judy and her husband Jack, who was friends with Bruce, are also here with us tonight. There are many other friends of Bruce Backus here tonight, and even several classmates and friends of Dick, class of 1949, are also here in attendance this evening. Our research was based on information from the state and national database for the Vietnam veterans. Richard was from Pennington and Bruce from Titusville. Both are Hopewell Valley alumni. It has been our privilege, our honor, to meet and talk with the family and friends of these 2 men. But most of all, we feel blessed to be their witness. To Richard and Bruce, welcome home. Good evening. I'm Scotty Hillard, class of 2013. The journey we have been on the last year has taken me far beyond any memorial one could ever stand in front of. Studying and learning about the life and death of Bruce Backus has humbled me and sensitized me to life, to say the least. We have learned that to be someone's witness, to tell the story of a soldier killed in war, is a very serious and monumental task. But the amount of people who have contributed to this memorial and who are here tonight are also testimony to the value of life, Bruce and Richard's life, and also consider their stories valuable. As unworthy as I am to be Bruce's witness, it is my honor to stand before you tonight and give you a glimpse into the life of a vibrant, fun, courageous, and loving young man who died way too young. On November 8, 1946, Bruce was born here in Pennington, New Jersey, and he began living his life, just like any other normal child. The minute he was presented to his sister, Judy, she exclaimed, "Where did you get this baby? Because you need to take him back." For whatever reason, they didn't take him back. Judy's initial reaction towards Bruce changed to love, and they became very tight. As he grew up, the typical sibling rivalry brewed between Bruce and Judy. One day, Bruce was playing in his inflatable pool, and Judy was nearby playing with her favorite Charlie McCarthy doll. Mischievously, Bruce lunged over, grabbed Judy's doll, and dunked it into the water, pretending to drown it. Judy was quite annoyed that her doll took an unexpected swim, but she really has the fondest memories of Bruce. She related that one morning before Easter, she and Bruce awoke to find their parents had gone shopping. This was the perfect opportunity to find all of the Easter candy. Judy and Bruce searched the house looking for the goods. Bruce sat on Judy's shoulders to look in all the high places while she tried to hold him steady. While on her shoulders, Bruce began to topple, but Judy miraculously caught him, saving both from too much trouble. After all, they didn't want to feel the wrath of Mr. Backus. Peace was always restored in the Backus house whenever Mr. Theodore Backus glanced over to the belt hanging on a nail in the shed. There was no altercation that wouldn't end right then and there. One day, when Theo went out to a party, Bruce and Judy had a mischievous idea. They plotted together and decided to bury that belt. After all, without the belt, what could he possibly do? As soon as he got home, he immediately sensed its absence. It was like a disturbance in the force, and inquired for its location so he could use it. But after all these years, he finally lightened up and found the whole episode humorous. It would be interesting to see if that belt is still buried there today. Later, when Bruce was about 16, he got a job working at Washington Crossing State Park, where he met his friend, Greg Eldridge. Nearly 60 kids were employed by the park to work at a tree nursery, where they dug up seedlings and collected hundreds of trees for the Easter harvest. Since Bruce and Greg were so efficient, they got promoted to the positions tractor driver and assistant, respectively. Here, he made some coin to buy gas as well as some other things. Back in the 60s, Washington Crossing State Park had a slightly different layout than it currently does. There was the secret path into the park near the entrance of Bear Tavern Road that led all the way to the historic cannons. Once winter came around, Bruce, Greg, and the whole gang would race through these trails. But they had the most fun when there was snow on the ground. And Bruce always came in first in these races. Bruce was very well known for driving his 1960 Ford convertible into empty parking lots that plows didn't reach yet. He would speed down a straightaway and drift in tight circles, making the best donut shapes in the snow out of all of his friends. Eventually, after all this hardcore racing, Bruce's Ford choked up and died. His mother had a Mustang that Bruce was allowed to use, albeit with several conditions. Bruce had to drive his sister and mother places on several occasions, but he had the 6-cylinder beast to drive. This was back in the days where gas was less than 30 cents a gallon, and $1 of gas would easily last you an entire night. Bruce has many fun nights in a generally more relaxed society, especially at Washington Crossing drinking beer. Root beer, that is. Whenever Bruce had to drive Judy around in the Mustang, he would joke about Judy learning how to drive a stick shift. Judy was driving, trying to handle the stick shift, while their father was in the passenger seat, and Bruce was in the back, smirking the whole time.
Judy never did quite catch how the transmission worked, so she drove an automatic instead. Bruce never did let poor Judy forget this, though.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Richtmyer, class 2013. The 1950s and 60s had a completely different society than we do now. This was the era where Pennington and Hopewell Township combined had between 2 and 3 police officers. Everyone wasn't trying to sue each other for petty offenses, like getting your coffee being too hot at McDonald's. Society tended to be more relaxed, and kids were free to do basically anything and often have more fun. Bruce was sucked out of this genial society when he was drafted to serve in Vietnam. His life took a dramatic turn as he was forced to go overseas. Initially, Private First Class Bruce R. Backus was in the Air Force. He fought in over 25 hostile missions against the enemy between October and November of 1967. Throughout all of these missions, he displayed the highest order of courage and bravery in his determination to accomplish his mission despite all hazards by hostile enemies. Bruce was awarded the Air Medal for his meritorious achievement while on aerial flight. Later, Bruce tried to be optimistic during his ground deployment in the Army in Vietnam. One time, he wrote back to his family while stationed at the coast. This was his favorite station because his jobs were easy. All he had to do was search for local villagers and check their identification. In one letter, he said, "Once in a while, they bring out some cold beer and sodas. We lay out on the beach and get kind of drunk. It was like a big party." As Bruce would say it, these were the groovy times of the war. Bruce spent his Christmas in 1967 stationed at another coast in Vietnam. He wrote back to his parents, his mama bear and his papa bear, that Christmas was groovy, with a helicopter blasting Christmas music, free booze and smokes, and many care packages from the Red Cross. Later, Bruce's company was sent to fight in the Battle of An Bo. In early May 1968, the U.S. intelligence reports stated that there were intensive artillery units in the southwestern Crescent Hills in the Binh Dinh province. A Company 150 was ordered to conduct a reconnaissance. 50 men and 9 armored personal carriers were dispatched to this location. The Viet Cong disabled 5 of these carriers with 75mm recoilless rifle fire, following up with ground assault from the northwest, northeast, and southeast. The Viet Cong soldiers outnumbered American troops 10-1, crushing any resistance. The first Lieutenant Hilton's last orders was to get the hell out of there. Alpha Company 150 attempted to retreat to the east. After noon, 2 relief forces were moved to the scene. First, the C Company 150, this was Bruce's company, and later, the B Company. Charlie Company arrived just in time to defend the remaining soldiers in Alpha Company, gathered the survivors, and retreated west outside the kill zone. Bravo joined Charlie and helped create a perimeter where they could resupply, medevac, and organize a counterattack. Bravo 150 was reinforced with a tank platoon from Bravo 169, and along with Charlie 150, they began the counterattack from their position in the west. As the night progressed, Charlie 150 was ordered to create a defensive night position. At dawn, all opposing forces had been withdrawn. When Charlie Company was moving to aid the Alpha Company, Bruce got notice that the company commander had been seriously wounded and realized that his platoon leader would have to assume command. Bruce bolted out of his vehicle and rushed through an open rice paddy field. Enemy fire increased as he ran, and he was mortally wounded while trying to deliver the vital news to his platoon leader. Between the fighting on the 5th and the 6th of May, 22 American soldiers lay dead, including Bruce R. Backus. Bruce's bravery is absolutely stunning. He had complete disregard for his personal safety while thinking of the safety of the rest of his company. Bruce was posthumously awarded the Bronze Star with 1 Oak Leaf Cluster and the Purple Heart for his acts of heroism, bravery, and selflessness. His acts show his profound love for his country. Bruce R. Backus was 21 years old when he became yet another casualty of war. Bruce wasn't a typical casualty because he was one of us. Bruce was a Hopewell Valley boy. Bruce took classes where we took classes. He sat in the same seats that we sat in, and he shared the same dreams. Except the difference is that when Bruce was a 21-year-old kid, he was out earning the medals of a man in war. Me, I
I'll be sitting in the comfort of a college classroom. It's really not fair, and that's why we stand here tonight, to tell a small part of a man's story that he will never be able to tell himself. Bruce, I didn't know you, but I feel like we could have been friends, and already I miss you. Bruce Backus, welcome home.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Emma Compton, class of 2013.
And I'm Naba Zamir, class of 2013.
80 years ago, just 4 blocks away, a boy named Richard Edward Stephan was born on October 7th, 1931. Here, he learned to walk, attended school, ate ice cream in the local sweet shop, and ultimately made a decision that would change his life forever. Living in Pennington for most of his life, Richard drove down the same streets and rushed to class in the same hallways we do, never expecting the inevitable. Richard was always full of life, ready to take on anything that came his way. He attended the same school, which was then referred to as the Central High School of Hopewell Township. He was very active in his community and was a leader amongst his peers. He participated in many school activities, including the Glee Club, the soccer team, student council, the Future Farmers of America, and more. He enjoyed fishing, going to church, and spending time with his parents and siblings. In school, he was quite the charmer. He joined the high school cheerleading squad for no other reason than to spend more time with the ladies. His love of life radiated from his presence, and not one teacher or fellow peer had a neglectful comment to say. A fellow classmate referred to him as the Arthur Murray of the class of 49. Known for his dance moves, another wrote in his yearbook, "To one of our snappy dancers, you sure enjoyed pestering people, but I enjoyed being the victim." He was known for his tenor voice and his wild dancing. He was usually seen bothering people, and his life ambition was to settle down in the Canadian Rockies. Regardless of his aspirations, Richard knew that he wanted to serve his country early on. He was a brave trooper by heart and had a strong sense of duty. He joined the New Jersey National Guard when he was 16 and went into active service in the Navy at only 18. During his training, his sister Emma would jokingly ask, "Well, Dick, what did you learn?" His response would be that he learned how to remove and replace a light bulb. Richard was ready and willing to defend his country at the same time in life that most of us fear doing our own laundry or being able to feed ourselves on a college student's allowance. He had a special kind of gift. His admirable courage and bravery could get him anything or take him anywhere. After high school, Richard traveled to many naval air stations within the country. On June 1st, 1952, young Richard Stephan was enjoying a lovely summer evening at the Enlisted Men's Club in San Francisco, California. There, he met his soulmate. Marianne Meek came into his life that night to remain by his side until death do them part. On their first date, Richard and Marianne went to dinner at Johnny Mac's Drive-In. Marianne describes this event. "I was driving as he had just arrived from Guam and didn't have a car. When the waitress came out to the car for our order, we each included coffee with our order. I wanted cream with mine. Richard, however, asked for a cube of butter with his coffee. He preferred butter to cream. I wondered if he was nutty or..." When he was on leave late that June, Marianne actually lost her job by calling in sick to meet him. Her reaction, "Oh well." Richard and Marianne married on September 28, 1953, at the Protestant Chapel at NAS Barbers Point in Hawaii. They had their first apartment in Honolulu, near the Naval Air Station and a mile from Waikiki Beach. A couple of months later, they moved into the Navy housing. Marianne describes the day by memory. The day after Christmas, with a pickup truck borrowed from the base and the help of a few friends, we loaded up our 3 rooms of furniture. We were just outside the gate and across from a sugarcane field when a dog at Richard's workplace had puppies. Naturally, we took one and named him Elmer.
They packed up and moved on to Richard's next duty station, this time to Norman, Oklahoma. In Norman, Richard became a physics teacher and even taught swimming and lifeguarding. They stayed in Norman for just over 3 years, during which time their 2 children, Terry Ann and Richard Edward Jr., were born. A few years later, the Stephan family was on the move again to Jacksonville, Florida, where they became very involved in the church. Here, Richard sang in the church choir on Sunday mornings. Both the kids and Richard were baptized, and Mary Ann taught Sunday school. In August of 1958, he received orders to go to the West Coast, so the family moved out to Irvington, California. As soon as they got settled, Richard suddenly had to leave to join his squad aboard ship in the Pacific. That September, his squad, BA-65, boarded the USS Midway. Mary Ann, the children, and their cat, Thomas, settled into a new house in Irvington. Richard was the aviation electrician's mate, second class, later to become first class, which was only temporary, but satisfied his call to serve. There was a world map tacked up against a wall in their house. Each time the family received a word of either Richard or Mary Ann's father, they would move pictures of them on the map to their new location. While deployed, Richard wrote to his family as often as he could, frequently writing love letters to his beloved wife. He sent gifts, like a china set and a pearl necklace, home to his family. When he came home in March of 1960, he brought Ricky a bicycle and his wife an opal ring that he made himself. In the letters, they would talk about their lives many miles away from each other, what the children were up to, and whether or not Richard played tennis that day to prepare himself to challenge Mary Ann when he finally came home. Unfortunately, Richard never got that chance. One day, Richard and 11 other members of his squad walked into the thick Vietnamese jungle for reasons still unknown. On August 31st, 1960, after just 5 weeks in Vietnam, Richard was officially declared deceased by malaria. He was only 29. His death is an ongoing mystery, one that many cannot come to terms with. Terry Ann and Richard Jr. didn't have very much time with their loving father. His children were just 4 and 6, and would never be able to see their father walk through their front door ever again. Richard never saw his children graduate from high school, never walked his daughter down the aisle, and never had the opportunity to grow old with the love of his life. Life changes in an instant. Richard Stephan was a man of beauty, passion, devotion, intelligence, and love. He lived every day to the fullest, with no regrets, no sorrows, and no fear. His loving family and friends, some of who are sitting here with us, were his source of strength. He does not sit here amongst us, but he lives on through the spirit of this school, through the life of our student body, and through each and every one of you here tonight. Every time someone walks through the front doors of Hopewell Valley Central High School, their last thought will be forgotten as they see the face of our brother Richard and take a moment to honor him. He is and always will be remembered as our valiant soldier. So, Mr. Richard Stephan, thank you for your service, and welcome home.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Twomey, class of 2013. I'm about to perform for you a song that I wrote about Richard and Bruce to honor them and welcome them home like they truly deserve. Through the process of building this memorial, I've learned a lot about Richard and Bruce. For one, they were very different. Bruce was the funny guy, the guy who could always put a smile on your face. He put a smile on mine more than once while I was reading through his letters. Richard was a hard worker, a family man, and a romantic. His love letters would make any girl's heart melt. Although they were different, they had one very important thing in common. They both served their country during a time when ungrateful was an understatement. They served in Vietnam. They are both extraordinary men, and these 2 extraordinary men gave their lives fighting for their country. For that, they will always be our heroes. I also found that I had things in common with these 2 soldiers, and this made everything more real than I ever imagined possible. I realized that where I've gone to school for the past 4 years, they've been here too. I realized that where I put my feet every day, they put their feet. The hallways I rushed from class to class in, chatting with my friends, they did the same. We all dealt with the same high school struggles. These 2 men were real. They lived, they loved, and they were loved dearly by everyone they touched. But in the end, they lived their lives on a battlefield, and because of them, I get to keep walking the hallways of Hopewell Valley Central High School. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you, and welcome home, Richard and Bruce. Before I sing my song for Richard and Bruce, I'd like to talk about another extraordinary man I've come to know over the past year, my teacher, Mr. Bello. None of this would have been possible without the inspiration he provided to me and my fellow classmates. During my time as a junior and this year as a senior, I've learned many lessons from Mr. Bello. His class was much more than a history class. Mr. Bello taught me about love, faith, that there's no room for excuses, and that if you work hard enough, you can achieve anything. This year especially, I've learned believing in yourself is a powerful thing. Mr. Bello helped me believe in myself. Having someone believe in you when you're unsure of the world, unsure of yourself, can change your life. Mr. Bello, you changed my life. You give the word teacher a new meaning. Thank you for believing in us and always believing in me. You've helped make me who I am today. You've helped prepare me to take on the world next year, and I couldn't thank you enough. A student couldn't ask for a more incredible teacher and role model. The song is called Extraordinary Man. It's dedicated to Richard and Stephan sisters.
U.S. Army. He was in the Army.